Space Center Houston is a museum dedicated entirely to the history and future of the exploration of space. The museum is located in the Gulf Coastal region of the United States, about 26 miles southeast of downtown Houston. It is best and easiest to reach Space Center Houston by private car, as public transit is extremely limited and the museum hosts a large and free parking lot.
So where we are today is Space Center Houston. So this is a giant museum devoted to the NASA Space Center. So it's about a $30 entry fee. I recommend what you do is, if you have a large family, like over 4 or 5 people, just go ahead and get the membership. So what Space Center Houston is it's a museum devoted to space and space exploration, right? So when you hear them say, Houston, we have a problem, you know, that famous line, it took place right here. So we're gonna go and we're gonna explore all the different space-related exhibits here. And we're gonna kind of go through each one. We're gonna show you how this specific area has become the space communication center of the United States, and really the space exploration center of the world. So let's head in. So there are several exhibits here. You could really spend all day. I mean, if you are interested in space exploration and how they do it and how they get up there and the technology behind it, this is really an amazing place for you to go when you're here in Houston. The first thing that we're gonna go into is the International Space Station exhibit. So what this is it basically shows you how astronauts live in space, how they live up there in the International Space Station. So how they deal with the gravity, what they wear, what their lives are like. So let's head into that. Have you ever wondered when we're going back to the moon? Well, it's in the works apparently. So the first moon program in the late 1960s was called the Apollo program, and that was the first and last time that we have been on the moon, right? So currently NASA is working on going back to the moon again, and the current name is called the Artemis program. So the old one in the 60s was the Apollo program. This is the Artemis program. So we're going to go through the exhibit, and it's going to teach us a little bit about how they're going back to the moon and some of the challenges that they face and the new technology to get there and what they're trying to achieve with this new moon program. So let's take a look. Have you ever wondered when we're visiting our neighbor next door, Mars? Well, pretty soon, hopefully. So basically this part of the Space Center goes through all of this and discusses, you know, the challenges to get to Mars and what's in Mars and how it's gonna look, and even the idea of possibly colonizing Mars. So there's some pretty cutting edge, interesting things in here to learn about. So let's take a look in here. One thing to note is that the gravity on Mars is less than Earth, so it's about 0.38 or 38% of Earth's gravity. So they have an exhibit here, well, a little part where you can feel the difference. So let's take a look. So this is Earth. Okay, not too heavy, a little heavy. And this is Mars. Oh, it's just a huge difference. So the smaller the planet, less the gravity, right? So you're gonna see that when you're here. They have a lot of kind of interesting information about the differences between the two planets. So how can we evolve to go there when we eventually colonize the planet and explore it? You know, how is it gonna work with our bones? How is it gonna work with our skeletal system? How is it gonna work with our adaptation as humans to possibly colonize our neighbor Mars? So it tells you all about that here. Very interesting, about the climate, about the storms that they have there, about the possibility of water and frozen ice. So definitely check this part out when you're here, guys. So one thing you want to see when you're here is the Starship Gallery. So this is a big theater, and it teaches you all about NASA and some of their up-and-coming projects and what it means to be an astronaut and how they train. And it's basically a theater, and you watch like a little movie. You can learn all about it. Additionally, right next to it, there is a kids section where they kind of have kids-themed space stuff. So it's cool if you have, you know, younger kids, 4, 5, 6 years old. So let's take a look at that. Finish the kids section, you have to check out the next part of it. We kind of go a little deeper into it past the kids section, and then you're in a replica of a real space station, so a satellite, and you can kind of see how astronauts function and live in the space stations. It shows you kind of the first space station, how it evolved, and the technology has evolved up until today. So let's take a look at that. Okay, the next part we're going to go to is the Apollo exploration exhibit. So this kind of talks about the evolution and the progression of moon travel in the 1960s. So it kind of goes over the politics of it. It shows you a lot of interesting samples that they took from the moon, and images of the space shuttles and how the astronauts lived and how it built up to that. So it's a pretty cool section. Check that out here. Okay guys, so for this section, we're actually outside of the museum. It's called Independence Plaza, and what it is, the main attraction, is a giant Boeing plane carrying the actual spaceship. So once the spaceship landed, right, it was carried by a Boeing airplane, right, and you can actually go in the plane. So it's pretty cool to see. Let's take a look at that. Okay guys, that was Space Center Houston. Now, anyone who's interested in space or space travel, or the politics behind that, or the technology behind that, is going to absolutely love this place. I highly recommend coming to see this when you're in Houston. It's one of Houston's top destinations, and it's definitely something very interesting. It's very kid-friendly, and adults will love it too. So guys, until next time, take care.